Hi folks, this is Rose from In Rose's Garden, and right now we're going to work on a necklace from using the Softflex Company Pink Warrior Support Squad. Say that 10 times fast. Design kit to make us a necklace. Now, I'm going to use a special clasp on this. I got this from Randy Brown. She wanted me to experiment with it and see how it would work. Well, I played with it quite a while before I figured out how it worked, but we'll show you that as we work on this necklace. So let's turn down and we'll choose our beads and we'll get it strung. So I put this little clasp up here, but we're going to use some of the beads from the Breast Cancer Awareness Design Elements Kit from Jesse James Beads, and some beads from the extra 2 strands, which I bought separately. So we're going to use the pink rhodochrosite beading wire that came in the kit, and we'll get these cut loose and we'll make up a pattern for them. So we'll just get these loosened up here. Now, what thing I want to start with is I'm going to put this this big bead here in the middle as a focal. And I really love these crystals, so they are going to stay on either side, I think. But I want to use these big pearl beads here for the sides. I think we will put in these spacers here. Then we'll add these white ones. Now that we've got all these lovely big beads here, I think we're going to switch now to some smaller beads. So that pave bead is really pretty. But put these aside some. If we need some more, we can always raid these from up here. And then we've got our bead pack from Jesse James Beads. So let's get this opened. Oops, what did I knock? My big one. I'm going to have to find that. There's only one. I mean, there's only 2. So I'm not going to use these for this, even though I love these. These are big hole beads, and I don't want to use big hole beads. So I think we'll put this baby here and on either side. Now, because these damage easily here, I'm going to find, where did I see those at? Didn't keep these separated very well, did I? I know I saw a conforming style there, bead cap right there. And I'm going to put this over the top of this. Like so. And that will protect that point of that bead. I see the other one is right here in the strand piece. So we'll get that out, put it on the other side. We'll just squish it down into place, like so. And there we go. Oops, stay on there, baby. Then we'll put some, there's those pretty bicones. We could put this white bicone here on either side. now. I think we'll do that. I do have to find that bead. What do we want to use next? Thinking maybe these. They're very pretty. Nope, we're gonna go with these. Need a spacer there. I think we'll put this little spacer there and we'll have a really blingy spot, won't we? No, I think this one maybe. This is an interesting one. There are these two big white ones here. We could also put in here somewhere. Let's see if we want to put it here instead of the bicone. I'm not loving this bead in here. I think we're going to take that back out. Actually, we have these super faceted little guys here we could put in too. So many very pretties. Well, let's put this aside here and get some wire out and string what we've got and see how it looks. So I'm going to just put this on the spool so I don't, since I'm not sure how long I want to make this, we'll just pull some wire off the spool, put a bead stopper on this end so the beads don't sink into the spool piece here, and then we'll just string what we've got here as we've got it laid out. This is what bead is one of those hollow ones that you need to go straight across on. So I may have to see if I can, there we go. Straighten the tip of the wire out sometimes helps, but really love this crystal. It's really pretty. There we go. Okay, there is what we've got strung so far. And now I think we're just going to try and go to some smaller beads up the back. Let's see how long this is. Get a bead stopper on so I don't lose it before we figure that out. So our bead strand so far is 9 inches. So that's probably about half the length of the necklace I want it to be. So we need about another 9 inches. But in order to do that, I need to decide on some beads I want to use. Now, I don't want the big beads on here now. I want to go to some slightly smaller beads. So, that's too big. So we have these. We can taper it down with some of these others. You don't want the bigger. These flowers are cool, but they'd have to be crisscrossed, or they would have to be separate. All right, now that we've got these more or less separated out, we can decide how we want to do that, and if we want to get one of the other strands out from the bead box, because there are some other sizes of things. I only see one of these little pink ones. Oh, it's up here at the bottom, top here of this one. So now we also have the option of using these two strands as well. So we can decide if we want to do that or not. But right now I'm just wanting to focus on getting some more the smaller beads on here. So like I said, this is 9 inches, a little over actually, and we want about 18, maybe a little longer. So we want at least 20 to 24 inches of wire, because I don't want to have too little wire when I'm working. So we'll get a little bit off and cut it so we can work from both sides now. So that's about, that should be good right there. Now I don't think that these beads here are going to amount to the 9 inches we need. And I could just start doing specific sizes and colors and such. I think we're going to use this little one on the other side of this crackle bead. On both sides. We'll pull this silver one back up here as well. It'll work. There we go. Of course, we also could change to chain right here if we wanted to, which means I cut wire I didn't need to cut. I'm going to go with this tiny one here. Yeah. I don't want to use these darker colors because they're too dark. I've been using relatively light colors down here. So we don't want the darker colors mixing in. I don't think it's just too far away from what I've been doing so far. So we'll take those out of the running. And then I'm thinking that once I get those out of the running, these are even going to be too big. Let's put those aside. And some of the metal is going to be bigger than I want to use it now. See how it overpowers the little pieces here? So I'm thinking that unless I decide to use some of these, I think I may just switch to chain here. And so yeah, we're going to just switch to chain to finish this off. So I cut a lot more wire than I needed to, but that's all right. I can use it for something else later. There's our. So I put all the excess beads away that I've decided not to use, and I need to cut this extra length of wire off that we don't need after all. It's a pretty good sized piece, so I think it'll be plenty long enough for, say, a bracelet or something. Let's see. Oh, come here, you. Yeah, it should be plenty long enough to make a bracelet with it, especially if I make a button bracelet or something that doesn't need the whole length of around my arm. So we'll put this in with the other items, put it aside, and then I've got this length. It's a nice strong length of chain that will complement this as opposed to being too small. I had debated using some of my chain reaction. I do have some white and I do have some clear. Let's see what we've got back here. If I would like to use it instead. Well, that's a pale pink. That might work quite nicely rather than the other chain. No, I think we'll stay with the regular chain. So now I have to decide how long I want to make this. And since we're going to have this lobster claw on one side, it actually could have be extended to whichever length you want it to be. So I think we will make the necklace itself be, I'm liking 18 inches, but I'm thinking maybe 22. So if people want it longer, maybe even 24, but that's about almost 12 right there. So we'll get another 12 inches of chain out, cut that baby off. Now, I was debating some more delicate chain, but then I decided that it would not uphold well to the bigger beads, so we decided to go for I decided to go for the larger size of chain. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on either side of my bead reamer and let it hang down, get to the end, and cut off this last link. And now the chain should be about the same length. Which I believe they are. Let's check it out. Yes, they are. So we'll put one chain, the chains on either side of our necklace here, and then we'll put on our clasp. So we got a couple of crimp tubes. These are 2x2 crimp tubes, and I believe they're sterling, they're silver. They might just be silver coated, but that's all right, they're still silver. So we'll just put that down on the end here, bring the chain through, drop our crimp bead down on top of there, or tube I should say, it's a 2x2 tube. We're going to use the magical crimpers, and they only use 2x2 tubes. So there is the divot where the tube will go into just before we so put it in there and squish, turn it, squish, keep turning and squishing till that little bead is formed and it won't squish anymore. So there we go. Now let's see if this will go in here. The little one will, but I don't think that the silver one will. So we'll trim this wire off right here. And push these beads over here. And do the same thing over here. Except for when we do this side, we will actually go through that little bead as we get it set up. Now let's get this sitting down right here. Push this down. Get her into place here. We don't want a lot of extra space, but we don't want it to be too tight either. So I think we're about right there. So we'll get our crimp pliers in here and crimp that. Turn, turn, turn. Okay, it's nice and tight. Trim this wire off. And there we go. Now I see that there is more space here than I actually had wanted. Let's see if it's to the degree where I find it irritating and want to put a crimp cover over there. Yeah, I think it's all right. Next step is to put on our clasp. Now this is the clasp I was telling you about at the beginning that Randy Brown from Thunder Horse Descendant had sent me and asked me if I wanted to experiment with and figure out how to use it. Well, this one end has a lobster claw on it, so you can use it just like normal. But then there's this barrel piece in the middle, and I couldn't figure out how to use this. I know that it was a magnet because things stick to it, but I couldn't get it undone. So I played and played and played, and I finally figured out that you twist this off, and there it slides down like so, and there's the magnet. So then to close it back up, you just twist it over it. So this could work in two ways. It could work as a lobster claw, or it could be used as a magnetic clasp. And it is definitely very strong, because this will not come off at all if this is twisted up. It's almost like a barrel clasp when it twists up. So we're going to hook this one onto one side. Now you can use the jump rings that came with it, or you can switch it out. I personally prefer an oval jump ring, but I'm going to leave this one in place. So put this one on one side. And then we have our lobster claw to grab on the other side. Where you want it to go. Now, I didn't save some beads out, but I'm going to get some out, and I'm going to make a little dangle down here, since we are going to use this as an extender chain, sort of. By doing so, we can do that if we wish to change its length. Oh, it just came off. I must not have got it clipped in there good. So, a very pretty little pink and white necklace. And actually, that is poking out more than I want. So what I'm going to do, I thought it was going to be all right, but when I laid it down, it got big. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a couple of crimp covers, and we're going to put those on. So I have 2 crimp covers here. They're pretty good sized. All you need to do is take hold of either side like so. Oops, not throw it away. And so it's straightened up. And I'm going to just put it right over the wire and close it. And you want it to go over all the wires. I got mine a little crooked here, so we have to straighten her up. She'll slide right up there. Now we'll do the same thing on this side. And it just looks like another bead in place then. Just put it in your pliers like so. Go over the top of your wires. And push it together. Oops. Come on, baby, I don't want you there. Down further. Now this actually slid over the crimp, which that would be fine if it weren't for the fact that it's not over the crimp on the other side. There we go. That's where we want it. And we just push it together. Now you want to push this way as well, because otherwise it does not form that bead shape. If you get it just so, it will actually go over the top of the other side and make it nicely tucked in there. There we go. Now no extra space. And now we need to get the beads. See what I meant about that's definitely a magnet. It's holding the chain. But we do need to get put a dangle on. Now, if you get one of these clasps and you sell your necklace that it's on, make sure you tell your customer how this works, because they may want to leave this right here and not ever take the lobster claw off. They might decide that they like a specific length, and then they need to know that they can unswivel this and pull the magnet off and then lock it back in place. So you could also just take off the lobster claw if you wished to and hook it wherever you wanted to, and then just use this piece as the clasp. I am leaving the lobster claw because I think that it makes it so, like I say, whoever ends up being the end user for this can put it where they want it so they get the length they want. So I'm going to get some pieces and make a little dangle for this, and we'll be right back. I've got a small ball head pin here. Hopefully it'll be as big as I want it to be. And we're going to put the drop here. Then I have this really cute little round bead, metal bead here. Then we'll use the pink one that was in there. And we'll wiggle that around till the little cap stays put. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to take this off since it keeps grabbing. We're going to put this on the end here. We're going to put it directly on, so I'm going to make a 90-degree turn. Get my small bell making pliers. I prefer my bell making pliers to round nose because they make a nice consistent loop with the littlest one. And I'll bring it around and I'll come down and make that lollipop shape. Then I'm going to feed my chain on. We'll grab it with our pliers right where the loop comes together. Switch hands. And then I'm going to take my other pliers and wrap this little guy up. Cut the excess off. Tuck her in, being careful with that top bead since it is glass. Come on, baby, tuck. There we go. Now it bent as I was doing that, so we'll need to straighten it out some. And there we have it. Our dangle is now in place. Matches the rest of our necklace nicely. And we can hook our lobster claw wherever we want. Now you wouldn't want it to, probably wouldn't want to hook it way down here towards the front too much, because then you're going to have the your lobster claw showing, but I think it's pretty nice. There's its dangle. All done. Isn't that pretty? So there's our little necklace using our Softflex Pink Warrior Support Squad. A little chain and an interesting little clasp. And right now I have it spread out at 20 inches. Well, more like 21. So there we are. So there we go. Again, there's our necklace using the Softflex Design Kit Pink Warrior Support Squad. Hope you enjoyed making this with me. This has been Rose from In Rose's Garden, and we'll see you later. Bye-bye.